Okay, the next lesson is going to be on inequalities. Those are things you may have seen before. You'll probably recognize some of these numbers. And you need to understand less than, more than, greater than, less than or equal to, more than or equal to, or greater than or equal to. Understand what they mean, what the symbols are for them, and how they're used on the exam. So x is less than 3, or x is greater than or equal to 6 is graphed below. Now what that means is x is less than 3. You see how there's a dot, but it's not filled in. That symbolizes the fact it starts at 3, but it doesn't include 3. So when we say x is less than 3, we mean it's less than that, but it does not include that number. If it said less than or equal to, which means it has the little line under it, it would mean it would have the dot filled in, and it would include 3. When we say x is greater than or equal to 6 on the other side, if you notice the dot's filled in, and there's that line under the greater than sign. Okay, if the mouth is pointed towards the x, that's greater than. If it's pointed away, it's less than. Okay, so carefully review that and know these symbols. There's not a lot of them, but you really need to know them. Inequalities are often going to show up a lot in word problems, so knowing the terminology is also important. Less than, more than, equal to, and certain other things. Symbols aren't used that often on the exam, but they are sometimes. Like I said, the word problems are very, very common. So let's look at some of those symbols briefly. Equal to, not equal to. I don't think that's on the exam. Greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. We're going to do a practice problem. I'm going to give you a moment to, after I read this, to pause by pressing the space bar. But first, let's read through it. If Reggie and his wife Dynasty saved $19,000 before the $11,000 $250 down payment on his home, and the property tax is $500 a month, and Frank, Dynasty's ex-fiance, who doesn't live with them, makes $2,000 a month, how many full years can Reggie and Dynasty afford property tax with their remaining savings if Frank contributes nothing at all and Reggie and Dynasty are unable to find work? I'll give you a moment to press the space bar to pause this while you figure out the problem on your own. Okay, we're back. The first thing I want you to do is cross out the irrelevant information beforehand and think, what are they looking for, and remember the units. So what we're looking for here is, let's find the relevant information. There's a lot of information. Some of the GED problems are this tricky with all this extraneous information that's irrelevant. So you need to cross it out. I have it in red, the extraneous irrelevant information. If Reggie and his wife Dynasty saved $19,000, so they have $19,000, before the $11,000 $250 down payment, so $19,000 minus $11,250, they have $7,750 after that. And the property tax is $500 a month. And Frank Dynasty's ex-fiance, who doesn't live with them, we don't care about him, who doesn't live with them, makes $2,000 a month. Who cares? They don't live with them. That's irrelevant. How many full years, so a year is 12 months, can Reggie and Dynasty afford property tax with their remaining savings if Frank contributes nothing at all? See, it says Frank's not contributing. He's a bum. He has nothing to do with them. And Reggie and Dynasty are unable to find work. So that means there's no additional income if they can't find work. Now, let's think back. So what numbers do we need? $500 a month, all right? So we figured out that Reggie and Dynasty had saved $19,000. And they had spent $11,250 of that on a down payment. So we subtracted 19,000 minus 11,250 came up with 7,750. Okay, and they pay $500 a month in property tax. So we divide 7,750. We come up with 15.5. That's the number of months. And they're asking how many full years can Reggie and She Dynasty afford property tax? So they're saying how many full years, how many months are in a year? There's 12 months in a year, so they could afford it for 1 full year. Again, that seems a little tricky, but when you break it down, it makes a lot of sense. That's actually an inequality. An inequality says less than, more than, etc., or basically almost anything with the budget. Most things with the budget really are inequality word problems. You don't have to worry about the symbols too much, but bear in mind when you see these budgets and whatnot, if they say a full, whatever the case is, don't be putting percentages or decimals, or they put that stuff in there to confuse you. So they might put for one of the answers 15.5 months. They may put 12 months. They may put 1 full year. They may put 2 full years. You may be scratching your head. Do I round up? Do I round down? Whenever you have an inequality kind of problem or something with the budget, you're usually going to round down. Okay, quotient's the outcome of division. Sum is addition. And is addition. 2 times a number equals 2x. A number equals a variable divided by x. The difference is subtract. Difference of 5 less than 10. 10 minus 5. A comma is a different rational expression polynomial or a denominator or numerator. If they said something like 5 less than 6 times a number, it would be 6x minus 5. Budget inequalities. Here's another one of those budget inequality. Marisol is a wedding planner. She has a budget of $5,375 for the wedding reception and a catered dinner. The reception hall costs $1,435. How much can she spend per guest for the catering budget? She's expecting 35 guests. Write an inequality depicting this. So think about what they're asking for. And remember, you can press space to pause the video. I'll give you a moment to do that now, and then we'll be back shortly. Okay, we're back. So what they asked is very important. It said write an inequality depicting this. So we have to use those symbols. So Marisol's a wedding planner. She has a budget of $5,375. So the budget's what you have to come in less than or equal to. How much can she spend per guest for the catering budget? She's expecting 35 guests. She's already spent $1,435. So you have to factor that in. You could do that one of 2 ways. You could either subtract it from the $5,375, or you could phrase it the way I did and say 35x plus 1435 is less than or equal to 5,375. I did that so you keep the budget in mind. They may do it either way. You have to be mindful. They may say they may take the $1,435 from the 5,375, or they may leave it like this. So write an inequality depicting this. We have 35x. That's how much you can spend per guest. Okay, and this is the equation. The money per guest is a variable. We know the fixed fee is $1,435 and it has to be less than or equal to the budget. Okay, and that's it for this video. I'll see you next time.